Hello everybody, it's Dakota, and hopefully you're coming to this video hot off the first video where we made the quadratic equation, and now we're going to delve into a little bit deeper programming. So the first thing we'll do is go to Program, New, and create a new program. And we'll call this one I Can, and hit enter to open it. Now, in this video, I'm going to introduce to you several new commands, and I don't want it to be overwhelming, so we're going to go really slow, and I'll explain each one as we go along. So the first of these is this button right here, STO with a little arrow. That is store, and if I put an arrow, if I click it, it'll put an arrow up on the screen, and we can see that that's all we have. I can press clear to clear a whole line at any time in the program, no matter what's in it. Now, what this store command does is it does the exact same thing as what our input and prompt commands did in the last video, except we can have the store be right in here. So I can say 8 store as A. If I run this program every time, it'll change the value of A to 8. Now I'll get rid of that. So what I like to do is at the beginning of every program set my variables. So we're going to have a couple variables for this because, as I said, this is going to be a much more complex program. So we're going to have a value for A, we're going to have a value for B, we're going to have a value for Z, and I'll explain what Z is in a moment. So for A, we can press second insert to type in front of it. I'm going to say 4, store as A. For B, I will do 8, and I'll explain why in a second. And for Z, we'll just make it 0. So, now we'll come down here. You don't need to have an extra line as spacer, but the program doesn't care, and it's nice to break things up so you can see them better. So, now that I think of it, we'll actually add one more line, and this will be a value called P. And for that, we will store 1. Now, we come down here, we'll go to Program, over, or rather we'll stay here, go down to number 5 is while. Now while works like this. While is a loop, but the loop will only continue while the statement that is right here remains true. So we'll say while I, because this is an I, or rather this is a 1, P, while P, I usually use I for these things, so I'm sorry, I'm switching variables here. While P, we'll go second, and then right here under the math there's test. So while P, and we can hit enter for equals 1. So now anytime that P equals 1, this loop will continue looping infinitely. So now we'll go down a bit, and we'll go program number 7 is end. Your loop has to end with an end command, otherwise the programming and the calculator won't know where the end of the loop is, and it won't actually loop. So this tells it we'll start here, do everything in here, stop at the end, come back up to here, and do it again as long as P is 1. And you can see at the very beginning we made P 1. Therefore, as soon as the program starts, this should be true until we change it and make P something other than 1. So, in here, we're going to do several things, and we're going to need a little more space here. So we can go insert and hit enter to grow it out a bit. We just want to leave that end down there at the bottom. So, now we're going to use this Z variable that I told you we would. And that Z, you can use any letter. I just like Z because if I always use it, then I won't try and use Z for something else, which will happen if you're not careful. So, what we're going to do is go Program, over here, and go down to number 7, which is get key, number 7. Now, the way get key works is every key on this whole calculator, other than on, and I'll explain why in a moment, is assigned a number. And the way they're assigned works like this. You start at the top left, and this is 1, 1, or 11. Then 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5. Coming down a row, we have 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6. 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4. 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, and so on, making the enter 105. The ones I mainly use personally, this one is 11, the Y equals key, 24, 25, 26, 34, and 105. But you can assign any of these keys to do whatever you want. So let's come back to the program. Now get key, here's the way this will work. Anytime I press a button, it will store the number of that button I pressed, whether it's 11 or 105 or anything else, as answer. And that's this second answer right down here by the minus. So we'll now take answer and store that as Z, because answer can get erased fairly soon, and we want to be able to work with Z all throughout the program. So Z is now there. And we are done for that part. So now we have a program that we can press a button, any button, and it will respond to that button press, and we can do things with that. So now we have to do something with Z. So what I'm going to do is go program, and this is the very first one. This is an if statement. You will use if statements a lot. If, and this works similar to the while. If the statement I put right here is true, we follow it with a then, which is just right below it in the program. It will run, and I'll give myself a bit more room. That was the end from the while. It will run all the code that follows until it runs into its own end. You have to end if statements with an end as well. Now we need to provide what this if is. So right here, it'll automatically do the space for you, just right here. We're going to type Z, go into the test menu again, which is right here, second math, and we'll say equals, so we'll just hit enter. If Z equals 25, again, that means that we pressed the up arrow right there. Then, and now I'm going to explain the way the output command works, which is what we're going to be using in a moment. Remember, at the very beginning, we set values for A and B. Now, on this screen, when you are running a program with the output command, there are 8 rows and 16 columns. You can actually see the 8 rows here because this program editor is running in a similar way. That P is in the coordinates 1, 1 because they start at the top left. The R is in 1, 2, and the O is in 1, 3. Similar to the way the keys are laid out. Therefore, if we come down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, my blinking cursor is at 4, 2. So, that means that to move up, we go to lower values of A, if we're calling our coordinates A, B, and to move down, we go to higher values of A. Similarly, to move left, we go to lower values of B, and to move right, we move to higher values of B. Therefore, if we press the up arrow key, we want to move up. That means that we want to decrease A. So we'll take A minus 1 and store that as A. Again, that's A, second math, the minus key, and 1, using the store button, and then A again. That means it'll take whatever the value of the variable A is, subtract 1 from it, and make that the new value of A. And we can delete these extra lines so that the end follows right with it. Now, what we have to do, don't mind that, what we have to do is do this again for the other 3 arrow keys. So we'll start again. If, so enter, Z, alpha, and the 2 key to get the Z right there, equals, so second, math, hitting enter right here, or number 1 for the equals. This time we'll do left. So this will be 24. Enter. Program, then, enter. We want to take B minus 1 and store it as B. Enter and end. Now we'll do this 2 more times. If Z equals 26, remember this is moving right, then, again we're running into the end from the while, so I'll just move it very far down so we won't run into it again, hopefully. Then, B, this time plus 1, because we're moving that way towards positive B, store as B. End. Just using 7 as the shortcut for end. Again, you don't need spaces here and here, but I find that it's much easier to troubleshoot when you've forgotten an end or messed up something somewhere if there are spacing in between them. So one more. If Z equals 34, then, and this time it'll be A plus 1 store as A, end. Now we have a coordinate system, AB, that we can move around with keystrokes on the arrow keys. That's good. And then we'll come down here, and now we have to actually output that. So what we'll do is we'll put a second draw is right here above program, and we will go, actually I lied, this is what we'll use in the next video. We'll use the clear draw. For now, we won't use that because we are working on the home screen. So instead, we will go down here and use clear home, which is number 8. That basically just clears everything you see on the screen. Directly following that, we're going to go program, back over to the input-output, and do number 6, output. We'll go A is the coordinate this way, comma, B, the coordinate this way, comma, and then in quotations, alpha and the plus, whatever we want our quote-unquote character to be. So in this case, I'll just put a plus, end quotes, and parentheses. Now make sure that end is still there from the main loop, and we will exit the program. Now, if we go into program, and go down to I can, which is number 8 for me, and run it, we can see we have a plus in the middle of the screen. If I press up, the plus will move up. If I press to the left, the plus will move to the left. Down, it'll move down, and right, it'll move right. Congratulations, you've made your first real game. A boring game, but it's a game. You will, however, notice that it is flashing, which is annoying. And if you try and move off the screen, it'll give you this error, the domain error. We'll fix that in the next video. Thanks for watching.